Welcome to episode 56 of Book Nerd Paradise, where we get to know an author as they tell us one of their favorite quotes, read from their work, pose a trivia question, and give away a book or two. Hi, I'm LRW Lee, author of the Andy Smithson Epic Fantasy Adventure Series. And I am super excited because I just released the newly rewritten, revised, upgraded, improved, I don't know what you want to say, but it's the third edition of Book One, Blast of the Dragon's Fury. The new edition ebook continues to be free on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Google Play, so be sure to get a copy of the updated. So you may be wondering, why, if this is a free ebook, why would I bother rewriting it if I'm just going to be giving it away? I wrote this book 4 years ago, and obviously as a first book, I could only write a certain way. And what I found is over the last 4 years, my craft has significantly improved, such that I wanted to give book one, which is the introduction to the series, right? So either people will enjoy book one and continue, or they will say, you know what, this is not written well enough for me to want to continue. So it was my feeling, since I have just released book 5, which is Vision of the Griffin's Heart, that's previewed in episode 44 here on Book Nerd Paradise. But as a result of releasing book 5 not long ago, I decided, you know what, it makes sense at this point in time to rewrite, improve book 1 so that the rest of the series has more appeal, so that we can get more people into the series and hopefully thoroughly enjoying it. So hence my choice to improve and spend the money to have it edited and all that good stuff. So I'm hoping you'll enjoy the newest version. So today what I wanted to do is, because it's new and improved, I wanted to give you a sneak peek of the completely revised 3rd edition. How about that? So you're in for a treat. At least I think it's a treat. All right, so usually I do the synopsis first. So let me give you a feel for the story arc first, just so that it gives you a feel for what you can anticipate. So in book 1, Andy is whisked away from his home in Lake Hills, Texas, and finds himself in Umaldi, a land he has never heard of. So he finds out he's the chosen one to break a curse that's over 500 years old. And in order to accomplish this, he has to collect several ingredients for a curse-breaking potion, the first of which is the scale of a red dragon. In book 2, Andy has to collect venom from a vicious serpent, but his quest reveals far more than he expected when he visits the library of Umaldi and finds a near exact likeness of himself in a portrait. Ooh, yes. In book 3, he has to not only get the horn from a unicorn, but he also wrestles with what he's deduced will happen when he successfully breaks the curse, i.e., his mom, it appears, will perish. In book 4, Andy has to retrieve the tail feather of a phoenix, which only appears every 500 years or so in order to regenerate in a fire of rebirth. But the series takes a dramatic turn at this point, for his arch nemesis Abaddon, who has plans to conquer the land, gains eternal life in that same phoenix's pyre, creating a situation, to put it mildly, puts Andy on edge, not knowing what his enemy is about to do. Then in book 5, which was released in January, Andy must now retrieve the talon of a griffin. But while he's gone in search for the talon, his arch enemy takes the opportunity to launch an all-out attack on the land. So you can get a feel for how the series is building in intensity from this, and certainly book 1 sets much of this up. So the synopsis of book 1, let me read that to you off the back. From the afterlife, 10-year-old Andy Smithson's relatives initiated a curse 500 years ago. Now they no longer agree it should continue, and one is willing to sacrifice Andy's life to end it. Unaware of the disagreement and with no say in the matter, Andy is unexpectedly ripped from his home. He finds himself in the land of Umaldi, facing mortal danger at every turn as he seeks to find a scale from an elusive red dragon, the most ferocious of dragon species, to break the curse and save his life. So that's how book 1 sets up. So for this episode, in terms of a giveaway, what I wanted to do was actually give away, so obviously book one is free, but what I'm going to do this episode is I'm going to give away the ebook, ebooks for books, the prequel through book 5 of the series, so that if you're the lucky winner, you can see exactly how Andy overcomes the obstacles put in his path. It'll set you up nicely for what's to come. In the comments below, you leave a comment about the episode. It could be anything. It could be the answer to the trivia question. It doesn't matter. Just some comment about the episode. And then make sure that you leave your Twitter handle, a Facebook address, email address, whatever it might be, so that if you are the lucky winner, that I can certainly make sure to get a hold of you so that you can get your prize. I'm going to be reading a portion of book 1 to you, and I'm actually just going to start at the very beginning because I think it's a great introduction to what you can anticipate going forward with the book itself. So, all right, here we go. Chapter 1, The Boy Screws Up. Even before Andy felt the sting of the wizard's curse, he knew he was in trouble. He'd woken staring at a dark ceiling with muscular wooden trusses supporting its weight like Atlas holding the world. Sitting up triggered a shrill alarm, a screeching like a horde of small monkeys at the zoo. He stuffed a finger in each ear and grimaced. That noise could wake the dead, he thought. Not disappointed, shouts raced toward him. He whirled toward the threat. The sudden movement catalyzed an avalanche down a stack of gold discs he'd landed on. Whoa! The screeches whizzed closer, and a brown fuzzy blur threw itself onto Andy's chest as he careened downward. It's over there, a voice yelled over the din. That blasted boggart, a second voice sounded. Max, open the door, get it out of here, a third commanded. A boggart, Andy thought. Having just finished reading the Harry Potter series, Andy half expected to see Dad standing over him, hands on his hips, shaking his head and frowning like usual. Andy came to rest behind a short wooden wall. The creature jumped onto his head and yanked at Andy's brown locks as it continued its tirade. He swatted, trying to get the menace away. Shouts circled Andy's position, and his flailing grew more desperate. Experience had taught him you never want to get found out in situations like this. You're guilty until proven innocent. He plunged his head into what he now recognized were coins, knocking the pest loose. Ouch! The gold concealed his exclamation. He surfaced and rubbed his behind, finding a hole in his pajamas. His hand came away with a trace of bread. Oh, Mom's gonna kill me. He ducked down, and everything went dark. Andy, get up! We need to leave in 10 minutes. Mom's voice echoed down the hall. Andy wiped sleep from his eyes and shook his head. I must have been dreaming. But his left buttock complained as he threw a leg over the edge of the bed, disqualifying his rationalization. With a reasonable explanation evading his consciousness, he rubbed his backside, stumbled down the hall, and into the bathroom. His thoughts continued to whirl as he ran a toothbrush around his mouth. Bang, bang, bang. Madison pounded on the bathroom door. Hurry up, you're going to make me late again, little twerp. I could really mess with her. The thought flirted with Andy's mind, drawing the corners of his foamy mouth upwards. What are little brothers for? What's the world's record for the longest time to brush your teeth, I wonder? Bang, bang, bang. Don't rush me, I'm flossing. Flossing? You don't know the meaning of the word. Now, you know the dentist. Open this door now. Andy spit out the proceeds of his brushing and took his time swishing. He wiped his mouth on a towel, then turned the door handle as slowly as humanly possible. He was rewarded by the sight of steam spewing from his sister's ears. Madison extended her clutches and sank them into his shoulders. A stiff yank, and he stood in the hall. The reverberation of the slamming door caught up with him as he ambled back to his room to dress. Mom shoved a microwave breakfast burrito into his hand 13 minutes later and groaned, oh, you didn't run a comb through your hair, Andy. No time now. Give Dad a hug goodbye. We need to go. Mom punched the automatic door opener as they entered the garage. Neither of them noticed a large golden-colored tapestry land on the driveway, then quickly disappear again as they climbed into her SUV. You need to behave yourself today, Mom began as she backed out the driveway and headed down Elm. Mrs. Taylor planned to leave you back at school with another class based upon what happened the last time. I told you it was an accident. Mom frowned before continuing. There's been a few too many accidents with you on field trips, young man. I convinced her to give you one more chance, but this is it. Andy nodded slowly. He knew she was justified in saying what she did. He still didn't understand how flames had ignited Mrs. Crabtree's hair as they toured the fire station last year. Nor did he have a reasonable explanation for why Alexis Garnier's backpack ended up in the gorilla exhibit when they visited the zoo. Everyone had pointed to him. I wish I could help chaperone, but I've got back-to-back meetings today, Mom said. Mom and Dad were both CEOs of companies they'd founded and grown. Andy ate his burrito as he watched limestone houses turn into brick buildings. Mom stopped at a red light 15 minutes later, and Andy's gaze floated over the intersection. A mammoth stone statue, perhaps 20 feet tall, of a medieval knight saluting, stood on the far corner. He and Mom came this way every day, and it took a second for Andy's brain to register something drastically different. As the light turned green, he pivoted. Just a metal power pole. Andy shook his head. Something wrong, honey? No. Boy, first that boggart with the gold, now this, he thought. You did bring your permission slip, didn't you? Mom hoped, interrupting his ponderings. Oh, yeah, I did. Several minutes later, she pulled into the drive of a 3-story limestone building. Belrose Junior Academy announced a stately sign out front. Andy leaned over and gave Mom a peck on the cheek. Be good. Andy nodded as he closed the door. Andy sat in the front seat of the bus, next to Mrs. Taylor, deflecting snide remarks from his classmates as they filed on. Little bitty baby has to sit next to the teacher. This and similar comments made the muscles in Andy's jaw bulge as he stared out the window, waiting for the driver to get the show on the road. 2 long hours later, and the bus pulled into Dinosaur World. Stay with me at all times, Andy, Mrs. Taylor warned as they disembarked. Andy rolled his eyes on the inside. The class toured several rooms with monster-sized dinosaur skeletons, including a vicious raptor-like beast, a large vegisaur, a mammoth brontosaurus-like creature, and others. After lunch, the class split into teams to do a dinosaur scavenger hunt. Mrs. Taylor instructed Andy to stay with her. While the class searched, the teacher led Andy to the dig site, where the bones of a large, super cool T-Rex-like dinosaur had been discovered. Archaeologists had excavated the full skeleton, and Dinosaur World reproduced the bones as they were when they were discovered. A sign invited guests to dig for fossils, but added a caution, limit 1 fossil per person. Why don't you find a fossil? Looks like tools are over there, Mrs. Taylor pointed. With nothing better to do, Andy sauntered over and grabbed a garden spade and gloves. A row of 10-inch teeth protruding from the jaw that nearly equaled his height enticed Andy, and he headed over to examine more closely. He cleared away the hard-packed soil, freeing the lower jaw, then set to work doing the same for the upper. Andy had been playing his new video game Dragon Slayer all week. What's the difference between a dinosaur and a dragon? He wondered. The seemingly innocent question slithered its way around his brain like a cobra, and true to form, it coiled itself up, then rose, expanding its hood. Other than breathing fire, the snake struck, and the next thing Andy knew, the skeleton rose from its tomb of dirt. Ah! Andy scuttled back. A rake lay nearby, and Andy grabbed the handle, which of course came loose from the head. Crap! The beast of bone stood and shook itself, spraying a shower of dirt. Andy choked and sputtered as the creature bellowed, then surveyed its surroundings. He dared not move. Don't see me, please don't see me. Blinding light from the parking lot not far away caught Andy's attention. Their bus driver had opened the doors, and the glass had reflected the sun's brilliance right at the monster. The brute took a step, its massive skeletal foot missing Andy by mere inches. He ducked as the bony tail swished. The beast let loose a terrifying roar and charged. It's going after the bus. It'll kill the driver. Andy raced after. Armed with only the rake handle, he didn't really want to attract the thing's attention, but with no other available options, he skidded to a halt as the brute prepped to take a bite out of the bus's roof. Hey, Mr. T-Rex, back here, Andy panted, stabbing at the beast's tail with the handle. The monster pulled back and turned toward the distraction. Eyeing Andy up and down, it took a step toward him and announced its dissatisfaction. Come on, Mr. T-Rex, I'll fight ya. The beast advanced another 2 steps, and Andy prepared to engage. I hope its reactions aren't very fast. Andy darted below the scrawny forearm and in a flash jumped and thrust the handle through the monster's armpit, angling it toward the creature's heart, then dashed to safety. As if in slow motion, the beast of bones looked down to find the weapon protruding from among its parts. A low growl escaped as it toppled earthward, landing in a disheveled heap. Yes! Andy pumped his arm. Andrew Smithson, what do you think you're doing? How did you have time? No, I don't want to know. Mrs. Taylor raised her eyebrows over her sequin-studded cat-eye glasses. Who wore those anymore, anyway? She shook her head as her balled fist found her hips. How could she not appreciate that I just saved the bus driver, not to mention the bus? You will haul every last one of these back to the dig site immediately. And that's where I'm going to leave it for now. But that kind of gives you a taste of what you might be in for if you read this book. Our guest author last week, YA sci-fi author Joe Michaels, posed a trivia question.
So my trivia question was, in Pride and Prejudice, what was Mr. Darcy's first name? And the answer is Fitzwilliam.
Have you ever heard the expression awesome possum? Are you looking for great reads for your kids or grandkids? Award-winning author M.K. Mathias has recently published the first 3 books in the Awesome Possum series for early readers. And the expression awesome possum is apropos because these books have an engaging rhyming tale with full-color illustrations that are sure to keep kids riveted and begging for more. Awesome Possum by M.K. Mathias. Get one or all of them at Amazon today.
Alchemy plays a big role in the first book and the series as a whole. So the trivia question I have for you is, what are the 4 elementals of alchemy? And then make sure that you subscribe to this YouTube channel because you'll not want to miss the answer if you don't know. Next episode. Thanks for celebrating with me the release of the 3rd edition of Book 1. All new, upgraded, improved, all sorts of good stuff. Once again, it's free for download, so make sure that you get that. But I hope you've enjoyed your taste of the book today, and hopefully you will be interested and go and get yourself a copy because I hope that this is a series that has engaged not just the young, but the young at heart as well. So I've had positive reviews, many positive reviews from adults as well as kids. So it's not just for kids, but certainly enjoy it as well. And it is a coming of age series, right? So Andy is getting older through each book. He'll be 16 by the time it's over. So make sure that you get yourself a copy today.
Click the button to subscribe to the Book Nerd Paradise YouTube channel so you don't miss upcoming authors, giveaways, and answers to trivia questions.
I hope you've enjoyed today's episode, and I look forward to seeing you again next Monday.